Welcome to episode number 2 of the Great Pothos Race. It sure was fun watching Matt's first video, but I'll be honest, I thought there was going to be a few more little nuggets of information about how he's going to be growing his plants in water. I kind of gave a lot of information away in my video about how I'm growing mine with the heat mat, with the pothos cuttings, as well as the little air pump. So I kind of gave, or I spilled the beans a little bit too much than probably what I should have. So I'm gonna have to wait till his second video to find out how it's going. But overall, we got some things to talk about. Almost immediately after watching each other's video, we went on Instagram and we were chatting about how the video series was very well received by you guys and all the kind comments and the excitement for this video series as we all share. I'm super excited for this as well. But he did make the comment of saying how he may have messed up already, and without getting into too much details, he said he let his water get too low and it may have damaged the roots that started. So as soon as I heard that, I kind of went into full panic mode and I said, "You actually have roots already?" And he said, "Yes." So I ran over to my container only to find that mine had still not produced any roots. Now, in my experience over the years of propagating pothos, usually I will start to see a little glimmer of root poking through around the 1 week, 7 to 10 days. And that was not the case with this one. So for a few brief moments, I quite literally went off the deep end. My thinking was irrational. I had already basically thrown in the white flag. I had given up on the pothos race. But then I soon regained my thoughts and I had to rethink my strategy and just kind of brainstorm as to if there's anything that I could do better. So I just had to recap on how I was doing things. I had it in a container. I wasn't going to change the water just to maintain that natural rooting hormone that pothos cuttings give off. I had it on a heat mat to expedite the root growth from experiments which I've done in the past, which have shown great results. And then I also had that little air pump. So I had to think if there was anything else that I could do to help the rooting process along. So what I come up with is, again, in the panic state that I had, I got a smaller container, just a small little glass jar, and I also went upstairs and got some other pothos cuttings as well. So I did host a live stream, and I actually showed the cutting on the live stream, as some people were actually interested in how the rooting process was going. So after that live stream, I think it was 2 days after, I actually saw some roots popping through. So I was super relieved. I couldn't be happier. I thought for sure I'd have to be starting over, as for whatever reason, this cutting just didn't want to root. I try and read every single comment that you guys leave on my videos, and there's one comment that I'm extremely glad that I did, because it says, "Did you by any chance check the pH of your water?" Now, this was kind of a light bulb moment for me, because I always advocate for correcting the pH in my water that I use for my houseplants. Tropical plants need a slightly acidic pH, and when I checked the filtered tap water that I used, it was severely alkaline. It was a pH of about 8. So again, I should have known better, but I corrected the pH of the water to somewhere around 6, 6.5 using a little pH testing kit. And I just use a little concentrated solution of pH down. Add that to your water, mix that up, and then that's what I've been using with the pothos cutting so far. So thanks to Rebecca Scotland 73339 for that very informative piece of information. And like I said, I should have known better, but this is why I read all the comments, and this is why I think I'm going to really enjoy this series, because you guys also provide some information and some little tips and stuff like that. Now, there is one more thing that I think I'm going to start to use. It'll be a very diluted amount of fertilizer. So I use the Dynagrow Foliage Pro. It has a regular plant dosage, but also has a hydroponics dosage as well. So for plants that are growing in water. Now that it has a little bit of a root system, I'm going to add a very small amount of nutrients to help that plant uptake those nutrients and just give it a little bit of a boost. So the water is just slightly below the top of the container here. So I'm just gonna top it up just a little bit. I'm just gonna add some of this nutrient rich solution like that. And then I'm going to just put it back on its heat mat, but let's take a look at the roots. And just so there's no confusion, the pothos cutting for the competition is a top cut. And here is the newest leaf, as in a few days ago. It was just starting to unfurl when we took the original cutting. But this is the top cutting. All the other cuttings are stem cuttings. So they have cut portions at the top. And you can see all of, well, this piece is rotting, so I'm going to take that off. You can see all of these cuttings have sprouted roots actually fairly quick, and then this one actually has a new growth point. So as you can see, all the non-competition cuttings, except for this little guy, they're all stem cuttings or mid cuts. So here is the competition cutting, and you can see it's got some nice roots coming in here. So definitely a sped up process. And I'm happy to finally see that there are some roots. Now they're not super large roots, but definitely this is nice to see that it actually has some roots, and I can kind of ease up a little bit. I don't have to panic anymore. So I'm going to place this back on the heat mat so it's all nice and toasty. I'm going to re-add the little air stone, pop it in there like that. Let's fire this puppy up, and we'll let it kind of percolate like that for a little bit. So we have about another week or so before this video is uploaded for you guys to see. So I'm going to check back in another week here, and hopefully we have some more larger roots. Okay, so it's been about 10 days since the last update, and we got a little bit of a problem, two problems actually, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But as you can see, it's still growing in the water. It's looking a little bit cloudy and murky, so I'm going to replace the water with something fresh today. Okay, so problem number one, I was actually talking with Matt from TECHPLANT today. He's just asking how my roots were doing on my plant, and I just sent him a little video, and it went something like this. Okay, here's the cutting. So decent roots on it. It's probably ready for some soil. And it looks like frickin' thrip. You mother. So that's what I'm dealing with right now, a pesky adult thrip. And occasionally I will find them on some of my houseplants downstairs here. They're really difficult to eradicate. You will see the damage on the leaves most times before you actually see the thrip. So not really a big issue, because most times I'm fairly like I look over my plants quite often, and whenever I find a thrip like this, I will squish it and then spray it off, or I will treat the plant. So not a big issue. I'm not too worried. Now the top of the plant here is getting a little bit yellow, and I just kind of noticed that today as well. And I'm thinking that the light, it might be too bright. I might have the light source too close to the light. So I'm glad that this cutting has some roots. I'm really happy that it's pretty well ready to go on the plank. And I'll show you the roots here. So we have some nice roots here, as well as some secondary roots, which that's exactly what I wanted. So for the next video, I'll be placing this in soil and then attaching it to the plank, and we'll kind of go from there. And for the second problem, I would come downstairs and the water level would be dramatically lower within like a day or so, and I couldn't figure out why. And I've yet to catch it on camera, but I came downstairs and I found Oscar drinking out of this container. So I have to watch that he not only doesn't drink any fertilizer and that sort of thing, but I have to watch the water levels because they were quite low the one day, and I don't want the water roots to dry out. So I was a little bit worried because this top one here was pretty dry, but I filled it back up with water and haven't had an issue since. I haven't seen him drinking any more water from this container, so maybe he doesn't like the disgusting algae that's kind of floating around in the jar. So I'm going to dump this water out, replenish it with some fresh stuff, and then I think that'll be it for the update video. Got some fresh water in the container. It is pH balanced, as well as a little bit of fertilizer in there. So if it looks like pee, you are good to go. That means it has a pH of around 6 to 6.5. So if it looks like pee, it's optimal ranges. So I think that's gonna be pretty much it for this second episode of the Great Pothos Race. I hope this is exciting to you, and I hope you check back next month for episode 3. Stay tuned for that. So thanks for watching, and make sure you go over to Matt from TECHPLANTS channel. Go watch his video as well. Thanks for watching. See ya.